Coming up on today's show, we are talking about creating a plan of action for your goals and life. Hello, darlings, and welcome to Wake Up and Show Up Live. I am your host, Portia Scott, and this is your daily show, giving you a daily dose of inspiration and empowerment to take your life off autopilot. How is everybody doing? Hello, hello, hello. Zetta, thank you so much for joining, darling. Daryl's on, Brandon's on, Paula's on. Thank you guys so much for joining. How is everyone doing today? It is Thursday, which means we're almost at Friday. Everybody loves Friday. I know I do. And I know it seems like we are just in Groundhog's Day, but for me, I do give me some time off on Friday. So I am super excited about that. Hello, darling. Hello, hello, hello. You guys, welcome in. How is everyone doing? You guys, I have my glasses on. These are my teacher glasses. So we are going to get into it today. I am super excited. I am ready to go. Hello, hello, hello. So how is everybody doing today? And number one, as always, before we get started, we are always going to sprinkle gratitude no matter where we are. So what are you grateful for? What are you guys grateful for today? Today, I am super duper grateful because I get the opportunity to talk to some amazing people. And I say it's amazing, not because of the status that they have or the money that they have, but I just get the chance to, one, be with this community, but I get the opportunity on the Wake Up and Show Up podcast to talk to amazing people that are making a difference in not only their lives, but the lives of others, and taking those pivotal moments in their lives and making a show up. And that is a big thing. It is hard to do. And so I'm grateful for that. Hello, darling. Val is on. Thank you so much for joining. Hello, hello, hello. I told everybody I got my glasses on, girl, so I'm ready to teach. Actually, the reason why I have my glasses on is because something bit me the other day, and I am trying to find out what bit me on my eye. Can you believe that? So anyway, that's the reason for the glasses. Hello, darling. As you guys always know, before we get into the content, if I am saying something, if somebody in the comments is saying something in our community that you agree with, I want you to type in, hello, darling. You know how we do it. That lets us know that, one, you're agreeing with what we say. What we said is something that maybe you said before. The information is resonating with you and you love it. So hello, darling. Also, every single Thursday, we drop a podcast episode. Yes, we drop a podcast episode every single Thursday, the Wake Up and Show Up podcast with your girl, Portia Scott, Apple, Spotify, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, all the places where you get your podcast. I want you to go and listen to today's episode. It's extremely exciting. We had Andrew Roby, event planner and founder of Andrew Roby Events, and he really talked about his transition from he was a chemical, biological, nuclear specialist in the Army, and now he is an award-winning event planner. And we talk about that transition because sometimes we often see the story at the end, but we don't see the beginning. And he talks about how he was almost homeless, filing for unemployment. And just in this pivotal moment, he made a decision to show up in an area that he was good at. So you guys go listen to that. That is the Wake Up and Show Up podcast with Portia Scott. And while if you've listened to any of our episodes, make sure you leave us a review. Make sure you leave us a 5-star rating and let us know how we're doing. So as we are all staying at home, I hope you guys are staying at home. We want to keep in touch with you. And the way that we do that is by texting the phrase wake up to 31996. So in the comments, if you are on the text list, text 1 if you got your text today. Check, because we did put out a text to let you know that we were going live because this show is super exciting. One of the things that we are doing today, we've done all week, is that we have been talking about productivity. And what does that mean around our goals as well as our behavior types, and how do we create a plan of action for not only our goals, but for our lives? And so today I want to get into that. So you guys, Ashley was so great yesterday that as we were talking, she let me know that one of her goals was that she wanted to put out 3 episodes of her show. I'm not sure what the show is, and I hope that Ashley jumps on. But even if she doesn't, we're going to go through what this plan of action can look like towards whatever your goal is, whatever your project is, whatever your task is. This works. So everybody, write in the comments the power of 1. In the comments, write the power of 1. This is the way that we systematically approach our task, we approach our goals, we approach any project that we're doing. It is the power of 1. What is the power of 1, Portia? Simply put, the power of 1 just means one goal, one task, one project, whatever it is, that's one goal, step, one day. That's it. It is doing the next thing. It is doing the next one thing. The power of 1, power of 1. Thank you guys so much for putting it in there. And so the way that we do this, or the way that we look at it, is understanding that when we look at things holistically, when we look at things big picture, sometimes it's extremely hard to think that I could get that done. So for instance, I'm going to tell you guys, I've been in a bedroom retreat challenge for 7 days. And so I had so much going on. I was listening to the lives, but I wasn't able to put my plan of action together. Why? Because I didn't put a plan of action together, even with that. So you know what your girl did last night is I created me a plan of action for how I'm going to put together my bedroom retreat, what that looks like. Because hello, life. I have kids, I have a husband, I have all of these things going on. So I want to make sure I have a plan of action. And how do we do that? So we're going to get right into it. So yesterday, like I said, Ashley, if you're on, let us know, wave to us, say hi. But Ashley said that she wanted to put out 3 episodes of her show. So I'm not sure if Ashley is an amazing designer. She's an animator. She is incredible. And so I'm not really sure what that particular show is, because it could be a YouTube show, it could be a show on Facebook, it could be a lot of things, right? But it doesn't matter. So one of the things that happens when you put your goals out into the atmosphere, when you speak them, when you declare them, is that you are telling yourself and the atmosphere that you are ready to show up. That you are ready to show up, and that you are ready to do what it is that you know you've been created to do. So you serve notice to the atmosphere, you serve notice to the world, you serve notice to yourself to say, hey girl, I am ready to this is what I want to do. Yesterday, I talked about, you guys think about that goal that you think that you could do. And I think I said 14 days, but think about that goal, put it in the comments. And so one of the things that we also do is when we speak, what we're going to do is we serve notice on fear to tell fear that I am now in control and you no longer have control over me. Hello, darling. That's what happens when we put things out. When we say, this is the goal that I want to achieve. 1, you're telling yourself out loud, not in your spirit, man, not in your head, but when we say it out loud, I want to achieve this goal. One of the things that I want to do is I want to release my website. And so I have a date for my website. So I'm putting it out. I am releasing my website by May 8th. It will be live by May 8th. My website will be. Why? 1, it lets me know that, hey girl, you're getting ready to do this. Plus, I have some accountability because I've now told you, but I've also told the atmosphere that I am ready to show up and I am ready to do this. I've also told fear, you no longer have control over me. So whatever those behavior types are, right? Those constraints of being perfect. Bye, girl. See you later. So what we want to make sure is we speak out, and we speak out those goals, speak them out loudly, because when you speak them in your head, it's very easy for another negative thought to come in. But when you're speaking out loud, it is very hard for you to concentrate on what you're speaking out and to hear the negative thoughts in your head or positive. When you're speaking out loud, it's hard for you to switch thoughts, right? And so whatever's going on quietly, you're already done spoke it out. So too late. So one of the things that we want to do is that as we are going to walk through kind of Ashley's goal, or whatever that goal is, you guys have it in your mind. One of the things that I always say is you need a due date. Put a due date on it. Now, what I'm going to say is this just your starting point. This is just your starting point. So for me, the website due date is May 8th. The reason why it's a solid date is because I already have it planned out. So I already know this. I've already done this. So May 8th is my date. What is your date? What is your due date? And so we're going to act like this due date is just a soft due date. Why? Because when we get to number 2, we're going to look at what we need to do for number 2. Listen, if you have friends or family and they have goals that they're trying to achieve, share. Let's not hog this information, but let's absolutely share with one another. So what we're going to do, we're going to put that due date, right? Because we need you to put a date on your goal. We need you to put a date on your project, because now that you've said you're showing up, you need a date so you can no longer say one day. No. We have a date. You don't have one day. You have this one day that you've put on the calendar. So we put that date there, but then we do number 2. I love number 2 because what number 2 is, it is a brainstorming session. You don't need people in your brainstorming sessions. This is just for you. So what I want you to do is I want you to take sticky notes, right? Get you some sticky notes and you put all of your ideas about your project or whatever it is. When I say creating a plan of action for your life, it's really looking at those things to where you want your life to go. At the beginning of the year, we always say a lot about, especially as believers, we say, oh, I want to read the Bible more. What is your plan of action for doing that? How are you going to get there? And what is more? Because if you've only been reading, you say, oh, I only read the Bible once a week, then you have to say what your more is. Well, my more is going to be 2 days a week, 3 days a week. I only spend about 5 minutes now in whatever devotional state you do, whether it's reading the Bible, whether it's listening to an Encounter app, whether it's doing your own mindful meditation, but I want to spend more time doing that. What is more? More is not quantifiable. And so we have to make sure that we put a metrics on it. So if I'm only spending five minutes a day, then I say, okay, more for me is 10 minutes a day. How am I going to spend those 10 minutes a day? Is the morning a best time for me to do? Am I going to split it up and I'm going to have morning devotion and evening devotion? Am I going to just have evening? Am I going to just have morning? All of these things matter when we're putting together our plan of action. Why? Because you need steps, the power of one goal, one step, 1 day at a time. But you need to set that aside, because if not, it'll just be lofty. It'll just be an idea and not necessarily a goal. So in those brainstorming times, if I was taking Ashley's idea of writing a show or putting her show out, I'd say, okay, let me make sure I have my equipment. And what we want to do is when we are putting out our sheets of paper, our sticky notes, everything must begin with a verb. Why? Because it's an action word. You're not going to say marketing strategy. No. Not with this. You're not going to say that. You're going to say develop my marketing strategy. You're going to say purchase my equipment, lay my equipment out. I'm going to storyboard or write or create every single episode, create the output or the outro, create the intro, find a graphic designer for the logo or whatever it is. Have a casting call for the characters. You understand what I'm saying? So when you're writing out all of this information, when you're writing out each piece on your sticky note, and if you don't have a sticky note, that's all right. Listen, we are resourceful. That's how come we're making these plan of actions. You get you a little piece of paper, you fold it in half, bam, here you go. You fold it in another half, bam, you got your little sticky note. You want smaller pieces of paper, and we're just going to go at it. We're just going to go at it, right? And so we have all of these brainstorming sessions. What I say is do about two or three at the beginning, spend 30 minutes, and maybe you just have enough headspace or creative space, spend 15 minutes going in and saying, okay, this is my brainstorming session. I'm going to spend 15 minutes. Remember, Every single task should have a verb. It is an action word. If you put a noun to it, you will not do what you're supposed to do with it. I guarantee you. Okay. So we put a verb with every one of them, right? So create my story, create my storyline, develop the plot, whatever it is for your particular goal. If it's something, like I said, that pertains to your life and wanting to be a better person, okay, well, you know what? I need to lose these 30 pounds. So I'm not just going to put gym, but I am going to say develop gym routine. Create playlist on YouTube for trainers or whatever it's going to be. Eat less sweets. Eat is an action verb. So eat less sweets. Whatever it is, we're going to have those brainstorming sessions. We're going to do 15 minutes. We're going to do 30 minutes. We're going to leave and we're going to come back and we're going to do it again. And then when you have all of your sticky notes, all of your information together, once you have all of that together, what you're going to do is you're going to affinitize. And listen, affinitize is just a fancy schmancy word for saying that I'm going to put all the things that look alike together. You guys remember on Sesame Street when it was like, one of these things is not like the other. Let me know which one of these things is not the same. I'm sorry, it's been a long time, but you guys know what I'm talking about. So when I affinitize these, what it means is I'm putting all the stuff that makes sense together. So if I'm creating a show, like Ashley said, I want to put my 3 episodes out. Then we're going to split it up into different categories. Your categories can be nouns. Your tasks have to be verbs. So she'll put in something and say marketing. That's where she'll put create marketing plan, create graphics, contact a graphic designer, create this. Show, she'll put in, all of those things under the actual show. Launching, she'll put all of those things that has to do with launching. Equipment, she will put everything that has to do with equipment. Why? Because she's already brainstormed this stuff. And now all we're doing is setting it up as it should go. Why did we put that due date in the beginning? Because now every single task is going to have a due date. Why is every single task going to have a due date? Because the power of one. There's no way that you will be able to see all this stuff and do all this stuff if you don't have dates associated with it, and if you don't have dates that are attainable. So if you know that your task has 150 different levels or tasks that you have to do to get to your goal, well, obviously next week may not be an attainable, a realistic goal date for you. Right? So we want to make sure that after we affinitize everything, after we put everything together, that we put them in the sections where they should go. And then each and every one of them gets a date. And the reason why is because we said that we want to make sure that we goal set by week. I know it's hard. And some of you guys may go faster. You may say, oh, I done knocked this out because I did 3 tasks in one day. But the expectation is that I finish one thing, because I guarantee you, if I ask 100% of you, how many of us actually complete everything on time all the time, it's probably going to be a very small percentage of people that say, yeah, I complete everything. Why? Not just because of your behavior types, right? But also because life happens and life isn't linear. And so what happens within each of those tasks, I want you to ask this question. Every time you do a task, you're going to ask these questions. You got it? You ready for these questions? 4 things you're going to do. The first thing you're going to do is just what we did in the beginning, said, I'm going to put my website out May 8th. It is going to be available to the public. That's my date. But what I do every day is I say, today, I am going to accomplish the about section of that. I am going to accomplish creating the verbiage for my about section. You are going to tell yourself what you're going to create, because we are going to learn that nobody else has to hold us accountable. We're going to hold our own selves accountable to the things that we want, the things that we desire. We are out with blaming everybody else, but we are going to be responsible. We are going to take ownership of the things that we desire and that we want, and we're going to do them in a systematic approach. And so, which each of those levels, say for instance, she says, okay, let me get started on the equipment. Let me make sure I have all the equipment. I've purchased all the equipment. I have all the lighting. I have the mics. I have everything that I need. And so she goes through that in every day of every task. And some tasks can be combined because they're so small. So like if you say, okay, I need to order equipment. All right, well, that task may be very, very easy, but maybe you're waiting for the money to come in. That's fine. So we put that on hold. We know we're waiting for the coins to come in so we can get that equipment. But what can I do today? And each week you decide these are the tasks that I am going to do each week. Right? Because once we are able to accomplish one task, what it tells your mind is, I can do it. I do what I say I'm going to do. And it changes those negative narratives that oftentimes are created by our behavior types, right? CEO, the CEO usually gets things done very, very quickly, but misses the message in that. And so now if the CEO is doing this, he or she can actually say, man, I am killing it out here, but I'm killing it for something that's important to me. The free spirit who always wants to be free, but has a whole bunch of things going on and can never accomplish one thing, but has great ideas. Once they accomplish that one thing, now their mind is telling them, I got this. I got this. I can keep going. And the momentum of that, the momentum of being able to see themselves doing something that they said they set out to do, man, that changes the game. It changes the game. Or you have the Good Samaritan that was so used to doing goals for other people and other people's expectation that they do this brainstorming, that they have come up with a goal for themselves, man, and that feeling of overwhelm, that feeling that people don't appreciate them, that starts to diminish because now they get their power back to say, this one is for me and it's okay. So it's so very important that we do that. Or the perfectionist that has to analyze what has been analyzed, the thing that they've been analyzing. And so when you do this, when you're able to affinitize, or like it is, put things that belong together, then you're able to see it in a way. And you ask yourself and you tell yourself, today I am going to accomplish this task, whatever that task is that's set out for today. You put 30 minutes on your calendar to set this. If it's something important to you, I tell you guys all the time, what is your goal? What do you want? If it's more, and you put a number to it and be honest, 1 through 10. And if that is anything less than a 6, you need to throw it away because you will not stand by it. It's not important. It's not a priority. Not now, maybe in another, I don't know, another season, it will be. But we want to go after things that make sense and are important to us. Number 2, one of the things that you want to ask is, what did I accomplish? So at the end of the day, at the beginning of the day, you say, today I want to accomplish this, either at the end of the day or the beginning of the next day as you're going into that task again, because you didn't, you didn't complete it. Or as you are going to your next task, you ask, what did I accomplish? And that, my friends, is when you can give yourself the pat on the back and be like, I did it. I accomplished this according to what I have already put in. And then number 3, you ask, if you didn't accomplish it, if you didn't feel like you got that pat on the back, you say, why didn't I accomplish this? And guess what? You go back to your behavior archetype that we've been talking about all week. And you say, what was the behavior here? What was the opportunity? Let me go look at the opportunities that gives us. Let me go look at the constraints that gives us and see where I fit in. Or was it just life? And if it was just life, then we go back and we still go to number 4 and we say, with the information that I have about yesterday, what am I going to do different to accomplish this task, either tomorrow, if you're looking at it at the end of the day, or today, if you're looking at it at the beginning of the new day to start that task? What is the information that I have? So if it was that I didn't do this task because it was so overwhelming, well, maybe what you need to do is go back to your affinity chart, go back to that brainstorming, and maybe if it says write out an episode, right? Because we understand that as we're using these, they're going to be verbs. So I say, oh, I'm going to write out an episode, but that's too much for me. So maybe I need to break out that writing of the episode and say, spend 30 minutes thinking about what this episode should be. Right? So you break that out, and then maybe you break it out another layer before you even start writing and say, send this to my writing partner to check out. That's another one. So sometimes what happens is the tasks that we have, they're so large in scope and in spectrum that it's very hard for us to break it down. So all we have to do is look at it again, because that could be it. Or I could say, oh no, I didn't do this yesterday because it had everything to do with my archetype. It had everything to do with the fact that I'm a free spirit. And you know what? I just got caught up. And so then what you say is, what can I do today? Okay, well, I tried to sit there for 30 minutes, but I'm not there yet. I got to build that muscle. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to do 10 minutes of this goal today. And so then you're able to get that task and do what you need to do. So just to go over everything that we talked about today, is that we were really talking about, how do I put a plan of action to my goals and to the goals that I have in my life. It's so important that we have to know where it is that we're going, because we are no longer blaming anybody else for why we don't have, can't do, won't do, shouldn't do. All of that. We're putting that aside, because we are taking our lives off of autopilot, and we've been on autopilot because we've allowed ourselves not to take responsibility, but we taking responsibility of our goals. And so one, we're going to make sure that we have that goal. I used Ashley's example as an example. And I would love to go through like some of your goals with you and say, hey, we could do it on here. And you just give me a goal. You give me a lifestyle change, and I can go with it, down through it with you to say, okay, what is our due date? Where do you want to see this at? This is going to be soft, but this is going to put a date in it. And then we're going to go through that brainstorming method where everything, remember in the brainstorming, everything that you put on those sticky notes, everything that you put on those pieces of paper, it has to be a verb. It has to be an action. And so you put that on there, you leave, you come back to your little brainstorming, you put some more action words to it, you leave, you come back, and now we're going to affinitize it. Affinitize is just a fancy schmancy word for saying putting things that belong together in the same groups, right? So fruits, apples, oranges, pears, all that stuff, right? And so for you, it may be your marketing group. It may be your devotional group. It may be your eating group or nutrition group, whatever that looks like. We're going to put it all together. And then each of those groups is going to have a due date according to that big due date that we saw. But once we affinitize, you may see that, oh, I tried to do this in like a month, but this is going to take me longer. But the reason why we're putting it in groups is because when you're finished that group, that's a check. So that's more momentum we're getting, because I'm checking these things off. It is good. Yes, it's the holistic goal. But if I see that a whole group is green, what you say? And then every day we're going to ask ourselves those 4 questions, or tell ourselves, today I am going to accomplish blah. And then what did I accomplish at the end of the day, or the next day when I come to look at that goal and the next goal for the day? What did I accomplish? And then number 2 or number 3 is, why didn't I accomplish that goal? Was it life? Or do I go back to my archetype and see what that opportunity was that I had with that archetype and determine that behavior that I may have just falling into, because that's who I am. And we're strengthening this muscle to be able to see those areas of opportunity and make them our strengths. And so number 4 is, with that information I have, what am I going to do different to accomplish this task tomorrow or today, depending on when you are looking at it. So you guys, I hope this was so very helpful. I hope that you guys are out there crushing your goals, crushing your life. And yes, we are taking accountability for our goals in our lives, because I don't know about you, but listen, I've spent a lot of time, which is the reason why I created the Wake Up and Show Up podcast, was for this particular reason, is so that I, myself, Portia, could take her life off of autopilot and start living and start accomplishing the things that I was able to accomplish. I did such a great job being able to do it for other people, and it is my time. And I say that to you, it is your time. So you guys, thank you so, so very much for listening. One of the things that I said I would love to do is I would love to go over your goals. I would love it if you guys in the comments, you can even PM me if you don't want anybody to know. You can send me an email at hello@portiascott.com if there is a goal, if there's a life challenge or a life change that you want to do and you're like, I just need a plan of action. Let me help you do that. Let's help you do that. So I'm super excited. This week has been fun. This is something that I am very passionate about, that I absolutely love to do. So you guys just remember, if you're loving this, you can still share the broadcast if you were not able to share it during the time. If you're watching the replay, thank you so much for watching. But you can text the phrase wake up to 31996. That's wake up 31996. And you will be notified when we go live. We are here at the Wake Up and Show Up Live Monday through Friday at 12 p.m. Eastern Time. We drop a new Wake Up and Show Up episode every single Thursday. Every single Thursday, we do it in seasons, and seasons have 10 episodes. So you guys, we are up to season 4. So go listen. You guys are not doing anything but staying home. It's a great way to consume content. It's inspirational. It gives you tools that you need to take your life off autopilot, optimize the power of your uniqueness, and execute intentionally in every area of your life. So thank you guys so, so very much. Marty, hello, darling. Thank you so much for joining. Hello, hello. I appreciate each and every one of you. I'm going to keep saying this, but Marty has been on here. And you guys, I'll actually send some stuff out when we do the official launch. But Marty is part of the Portia Scott Media family, and he is launching his incredible podcast called Mental Health Matters with Marty. It's going to be incredible. We're going to have a full virtual launch party. And so as we put out the official communications, you guys will get that. And I would love for you guys to join us. So if that is all, I will see you guys tomorrow. You know how we do it. We end every single show with this declaration. Waking up is automatic. Showing up is intentional. Today, I will show up. I'll see you tomorrow. Same bat time, same bat channel.